right, let's try take 2.
I was just thinking, why don't we just meld the two together with 2 intros and just show everybody how ridiculously dumb we are?
Well, I think they all know how stupid we are.
It'll be funny, though.
Yeah, Mixler wasn't logging in, and it was unfortunately yours truly at fault.
Yeah. We're talking to everybody. He's like, yeah, call in, whatever.
Power and Speed Podcast, we're back. Everybody's here. Tad actually made it. And,
he was threatening not to.
Yeah, threatening not to.
Well,
I want to be in Manhattan all day.
And, I mean, dude,
he's a diamond buyer or something, right?
Yeah.
You just send just these random messages from Tad. Some guy just shit and pissed himself, and I'm watching him. What is wrong? And pictures of random hubcaps. What?
Yeah.
I thought you were there working.
The guy got ran over, right?
Yeah. Well, no, he hit something. Some lady hit him in a car or whatever. Somebody told me, you got to go out there and see this guy's dead. And he wasn't dead, but.
Was it an escort?
I couldn't tell what it was.
Jesus, Mike, we just went over this. It's a fiesta, man.
Festivus, whatever.
Poor Tad.
Festivus.
What about you, Crunch? Anything this weekend?
Nah, just cooling out, relaxing, checking up, my shows, and
Crazy
I was no, not that one. I was driving around in my father's old Buick. He sold it to my cousin, so I went to my cousin and got the Buick, 69 deuce and a quarter, riding around for a few hours, having fun in it with the top down. Well, my cousin keeps it really clean, so I had to keep wiping it down.
Down, huh?
Before I bought it back. Yeah, there's something about the top down thing.
He's a drop top guy.
Yeah, it's just something about that.
I used to do that shit. Used to hit like Duke Island Park and all kinds of stuff, like just cruise around aimlessly.
No burnouts.
But yeah, like when you had, especially like when you were younger, like no responsibilities, nothing.
Yeah,
just
where to cruise to next.
Kind of like you are now.
No, I'm responsible now, I think.
Well, yeah, you are responsible, but you don't really have any responsibilities.
No, I don't.
Other than to yourself.
I have this show to produce. It's quite important.
Yeah, well, that was going 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Crunch, I heard you have some sad news. And
yeah, we just want to say a prayer and wishful thinking for Flex, Andy Harris, who's Mike Castellano's right-hand man. His mom had a stroke. So he's been dealing with that. I read a lot of stuff on Facebook. I hit him on the phone and just, told him to keep his head up because he's a positive individual. If you know him or you see him, he's always upbeat. So this is a little different scenario for most of us to even fathom unless you go through it. So we just want to say, keep your head up.
Yep. Prayers out to him.
Yeah, it's tough. That's a tough thing. And I have another piece of sad news. Anthony DeSoma, his family suffered a loss. His wife. And I mean, forgive me if I get this wrong because Brian saw it today. He's the Facebook guy. I don't do any of that stuff. And I don't know if he saw it on Facebook or he saw it in an obituary or maybe it might even be my mom. But one of Nancy's parents passed. Okay. And I had even stated in our first attempt at starting the show, but I thinking better of it. I'm not really sure what the circumstance was. Wow. But that's, it's sad, dude. Whenever, a loss like that sucks. I mean, I'm never any good at it. Never, ever. Right. And I feel bad for anybody that's in that position because, I did lose my father, and that's, it stays with you. I remember when my father passed away, the guy, John McCoy, said to me, he goes, you're in a club now. And I said, oh, yeah? And he goes, yeah. And he's like, and it never changes. So, it definitely prayers to everybody that's already gone through this.
Yep.
But, it just sucks.
Hey, real quick, sorry, 908-751-0211. Somebody just texted me, yelling to give out the number. So again, 90, yeah, we suck. I got to get texts from my buddies.
Do these people realize this isn't what we do? You know what I mean?
No, he's being nice. He did it very nicely. He should have said, hey, morons. Give out your phone numbers if you want somebody to call. So again, 908-751-0211. Call us and remind us how stupid we actually are, I guess.
We're working on it. Yeah. Someday we'll actually have some kind of structure. We'll try anyway.
Yeah.
And be scripted.
We gotta get Alan back to keep us in line.
You better watch it. You've been fucking with him a little too much. He's gonna get you.
I know, I heard.
He's gonna get you.
He's gonna beat me up.
We were gonna attempt to get Alan in here to replace Tad. And but Tad,
I pulled it through.
Alan cannot replace Ted. He may be able to sit in that chair,
the cursed chair,
but he does not have the wherewithal to replace Ted.
Wait. Let me put it the hybridity.
Yeah,
I can tell you that Tad tends to talk a little more than Alan, and it usually is somewhat coherent.
yeah,
It's,
exactly.
More on point.
and Alan did note to me today that he would be sending me hate text messages during the show for whatever reason. He said
mostly
it bothered me.
mostly about me.
Probably about you.
Yeah.
So what do you want to talk about first?
Let's talk about Pro Stock.
Okay.
Their cars.
No longer 2 4-barrels.
No.
Jericho Trans.
Yeah, no.
And I want to note that during the new opening that we were using, Tad, you were going in a pattern.
The first opening,
I did Lenko.
I was doing Jericho, and he was going Lenko. 'Cause he's saying, "No, you're wrong." Like, what's that all about? I'm like, dude, it's been like 15 years they've had Jerichos in them. You know.
So then, the second startup, I just tried to jam it in reverse.
Yeah, H patterns. He was going back to Bill Jenkins' '68 Camaro, right?
Hey, I got videos of his Vega. So,
Really,
with the big wing. But anyway,
I got Bill Jenkins stories that. Oh God, he was one of the first people I ever went to see when I started my job.
From Manly?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a little bit of pressure, huh?
Oh my God.
The Grump.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'll just tell you the end of the day. He was done with me. I forget what I was trying to sell him, and he was done with me. So he sat back in his chair at his desk, pulled out some nail clippers, and started clipping his nails, and didn't look at me again. I swear to God, that's a true story. And I sat there for like 3 minutes, and then I realized he was done with me. So I was like, "All right, Bill, thank you for your time. I appreciate it." And I left.
Now, what most people don't know about Tom is he was quite the douchebag, much better than he is now. I mean, when he worked at Ask Frank First, I mean, I would have put my foot in his ass if I had a moment.
wait. I think Alan will agree with
Alan
that.
is actually upset with you as well when you worked at Ask Frank First.
Yeah.
And that's amazing to me that you could go there and you could handle that. Like, I'm surprised. Like, I'm fucking talking to you. Why don't you put the fucking? I mean,
Not Bill Jenkins.
no, couldn't do it, huh?
No, come on, man. It was on the same level of like I could never do that shit to your father. Be a douchebag. I couldn't.
Yeah, but I remember Ralph. He'd be filing rings or something like that, and he'd look over his glasses at you, and then go right back to it. It's like whatever. Just
No, but
not
I mean,
worth it.
there's certain people in the industry that you just know you're supposed to respect.
Yeah,
That was out of pure respect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you know what they know.
I wish I was there. I would have just laughed right at you.
And yeah, I deserve. Like I was probably looking like a big doof, right?
Yep.
And he's clipping his nails. That is 100% true story.
But you've met some pretty big dogs though.
Yeah, I have.
Bill, Ralph Troopy,
Yeah,
and
a lot of people.
Gene Fulton.
Fulton just called me last week. He's like, I sent a fax up there for some valves, and I'm not sure they're working on them. Can you make sure they're working on them? I'm like, yeah, Gene, I can do
I
that.
think it'd be more important to see if anybody still used a fax.
Yeah, right. Well, he does. He's got no email.
So I am looking at the NHRA, at least what I have, unless it was further revised, but I don't believe so. This came right off their website and has a very official NHRA logo on it.
So it must be right.
I would think it should be right, and it was on the internet, so we all know everything there is right.
Absolutely.
I was looking through, it gives, part numbers, which I couldn't seem to look up. I went to, as soon as this was released, I said, well, I'll look I wanted to see what the throttle body was like. And, so I went to go look, and I really couldn't come up with anything. But they list, Holly definitely got their hooks in here. This is it.
Yep.
And I don't think.
You think it cost him anything?
Oh yeah. You think? You think? And I mean, I don't know what to make of this other than I guess Holly isn't going to make $1 million off this.
No.
I mean, they're not going to make dick off this. Like somebody had said to me.
No, they're going to spend it.
Oh yeah. If there magically tomorrow were 300 pro stock teams, they're still behind. I can't imagine that they'd come out ahead of this.
Yep.
I guess the only hope is to push for their street systems.
Yeah.
It's advertising.
Yeah.
So.
Brand recognition.
Yep. No doubt.
But I'm looking, and they've got some interesting things. There is a mandatory fuel injector.
Yep.
Mandatory.
Yep.
Mandatory throttle body.
Yep.
Which we just talked about back and forth a little bit before we started. Mandatory ECU. Mandatory rev limiter. And
well, it all makes sense.
Yeah. But now here's what I saw. Now I don't know if this is in the rules, if this is what this means, or they're just saying this is what it's capable of. Fuel delivery system, 90 PSI max. Can't go over 90.
Okay.
I I think what they've done, and one of the things that has to be talked about, original OEM design hood.
Yep.
So
that's gonna be interesting.
Well, that's why they made the big butterfly, big single butterfly throttle body.
Yeah, and I think in here, if I look, throttle body must be mounted facing forward,
Right.
and remain in the engine compartment. So I guess not.
Well, I could tell you about that.
Yeah.
Back when Outlaw 10.5 cars started to become popular, this guy Brad Brand put his throttle body under the dash because he was the first guy that had fly-by-wire, and he was using it for traction control, and he finally got popped. So everybody was hiding their shit inside somewhere in the car, so nobody could see it.
Really?
Yeah. So that's probably why they want it out front, because
Well,
there's a lot of stuff you can do if you hide a throttle body.
Then they have that big open. You got to be able to see everything now rule.
Well, that's now. Yeah, that's now.
Well, I think what they did here, a lot of the stuff like dry brake coupler, I know why that's there, so they can pull fuel samples. Hoods, air intake must be located below top of front of grill, which is kind of interesting. Opening in body must be submitted by the OEM and accepted by NHRA. So I guess I almost wonder if that's a rule to like stop the little Corvette hood scoop, or anything of that type.
Yeah, well, they're going to restrict the size, and it's going to be similar on both cars. It's funny, only Chrysler and Chevy are in this thing.
Yeah, and looking at this, it's really a big shopping list more than anything. But
Yeah.
I think the thing to really take away from this is what they did with some of the rules, like the 90 psi rule, the very specific injector rule. I think it's said in here, if I remember correctly, and I read through this pretty well, so I'm doing a lot of it from memory, that the fuel injectors are serial numbered and assigned to teams. Like when you get them, they record them.
Yep.
So you've got your injectors. Because if you got to think, where would you be able to find improvements? And fuel injector could be an expensive and very specific location you could find improvements.
And you'd buy hundreds of them.
Hundreds of them.
Just like, remember, you used to buy stamped Chevy rocker arms and use the highest ratio ones in a stalker?
Yep. And most people probably don't know what goes on
I know.
in the engine building side.
I know.
I mean,
I remember seeing buckets of rocker arms that people would go through. And if you can get stuff in the 172, 173.
Oh, so they wanted all the rockers with the high end tolerance side.
Well, the highest ratio, so
Right.
you'd actually move the valve more.
So they have a plus or minus on the tolerance, and you want all the pluses.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm sure you've looked at your share of rocker
Oh
arms.
yeah, rockers. There's a million things like that.
Yep.
We used to do, and people would never think that happened.
Yep.
But yeah, because you got manufacturing tolerance on either side. But that's a difference between a guy that's putting a motor together for himself, and I got to be careful about what I say here because I don't want to offend a lot of people. But if you're putting a motor together for a class with no rules, I'm not saying you're a dummy. I'm not. But when you have to work in a very tight set of rules, you tend to get really creative to find every last little ounce of what you can find.
Yeah, you have to.
And I guarantee you that every pro stock guy that sat down and looked at this roll package was like, okay, injectors. Well, we're going to have to come up with an injector, spray pattern analyzer. We're going to have to buy, one of the testers that are out there. We're probably going to have to, they automatically saw, okay, the injectors are registered. Fuck, we're going to have to buy 30 sets to see how they work and see what the variance is. There's going to be a lot here.
I automatically thought to myself, I would start drilling holes and shit. That came to my mind. Like,
Yeah,
I wonder if I
knocking
could drill
the
some
caps
holes.
off or whatever.
I've been doing all kind of shit trying to get more out of it.
Well, this injector is manufactured by Bosch. That I did see.
Of course.
So I would imagine it's probably, I guess I was going to say it's probably something pretty basic, but it probably could be just about anything. I mean, this could be specially made just for this project.
It
I
could
guess.
be. I mean, Bosch makes all the good injectors. Like Injector Dynamics is the big Bosch dealer, and they have stuff.
Let's consult our Formula One expert, Thaddeus.
Yes.
Do F1 cars, did you ever hear anything about in days of past that they would talk about whose injectors they are? Did they ever see anything of that detail?
The only detail I remember talking to you a long time ago about, I showed you an engine, the fuel injectors were above the intake manifold. They weren't even, it's like they were hovering above the intake and they shot down.
Yeah, that was in that Renault video.
Yeah, and stuff like that. And I was like, what is the advantage to that? And, Mike spurted out a few different things, but of course that month it could be that, and next month it could be something completely different.
Yeah.
I would think it would be atomization properties. That's what they found they needed, probably at the RPM range they were working on.
Yep.
I mean, you
Yeah.
got to think if the air is moving that fast and things that are turning 20,000, maybe they found that they actually get better atomization. I think the injectors were aimed up, weren't they?
No, I remember one. It was like
no,
they were
aimed
like
down.
6 inches over the manifold, shooting down at it, and you got to wonder, is there heat evaporation tendencies that they're getting better at? Before it goes into the manifold. Or
Listen, the reason that you have one carburetor be better than another, everybody looks at this and said, well, it's flow number. It's not flow number. We could have, and I mean, this goes back to the rocker conversation. When we ordered 2-barrel carburetors for the 2-barrel class, and, we took the 2-barrel class for circle track just as seriously as we did any other drag class. I mean, we were looking for 2s and 3s, even though it was stupid because you're retards driving around in dirt in circles. It didn't matter. But we'd always look for it. And we'd have to order 10 carburetors. We'd end up keeping 3 of them. And I mean, you take these things apart and they're identical. I mean, they're everything is made exactly the same, but you've got a few that are 5 or 6 better than others. And you take the metering block out of one, put it in another, and it didn't get any better. You'd take the center from one to another. You'd find these things. And what it all really came down to was how well fuel atomized.
Right.
That's why I was kind of surprised to see the fuel pressure limit, because I am a high fuel pressure guy. I think that, it's nice to have the fuel to help your atomization process if the injector is designed to do that. So I think that might be why they did the fuel pressure side for 2 reasons. Number one, I think more than anything, if there was injector shenanigans going on, these guys might try to run these things at like maybe, 250 pounds, something to get super atomization.
Yep.
Wow.
You're right. So then it becomes fuel pumps and regulation stuff, and perhaps even safety issues. Lines coming off. I mean, who knows? Who knows?
Right.
And
Well, when you have a throttle body rule and an injector rule, the pressure really, I don't know that the pressure is going to help you too much.
well, I mean, I'm sure you can. Again, without knowing, and I'm sure it says it in this roll package, but I got to tell you, most of it is diagrams. I'm scrolling to the bottom here to see where we're at. 88 pages of diagrams and part numbers and directions and
Flow charts.
Yeah, pinouts of the ECUs. There's a lot here.
I'm going to read it later. I want to see about the transmission and stuff like that.
Doesn't say anything about it. I mean, no, the trans stuff I guess stayed exactly the same. This is just purely engine management and engine management. That's all it is. Yeah, it's a lot of diagrams.
It's going to be interesting to see if it's exciting to watch.
No, I don't
With
think
a flat hood.
I think the cars are, my prediction, cars are going to go faster because they took the hood scoop out of Airstream. That's what I think.
Okay.
The hood scoop being out of the Airstream is going to make, I don't care how aerodynamic the scoops are, it's still, I think it's going to be beneficial.
How about the potential pitfalls though? Like, what about the guy who complains that his rev limiter's coming on at 10.4?
Well, that's where
I mean, there's some percentages there that are really going to screw people up. And in a class that competitive, if you bump the rev limiter, I would say you're going out.
yeah, and if you had a guy, and realize what we're talking about here with NHRA Pro Stock. If one guy's rev limiter hits 30 RPM sooner than he expected or is inconsistent compared to other boxes he has,
Right.
has a failed ECU, swaps another one in, they're going to do exactly with ECUs and everything else what we did with rocker arms or what have you.
Yep.
They're going to check shit that way.
Yep. And they're going to have to.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is now Holly did say in here that they were going to make sure that no teams bought multiple stuff until all the teams had everything they needed to be able to compete. But let me give you an example. MSD boxes.
Yeah, I'm lost.
Okay. Since you have a single supplier of items,
Okay.
Holly,
Okay.
you have to be, and since they are now dictating, you need to buy the stuff. Imagine you're crunch and you decided, okay, I got hit on the head by a brick and I decided I wanted to dump every ounce of money I could get and build a Pro Stock car. And you needed a box. And Holly says, sorry, we're out. Well, since the organization is dictating that you have to use that stuff, you got to be able to get it.
Right.
You have
right,
to.
Right. So they have to have it available for
Can't
me,
be out.
and another guy can't have 10 of them.
Can't be out.
Right. I got you.
And I mean, look, if you were at the racetrack and you had a failure and you didn't have spare parts, hey, look, somebody could argue that if you were there and you had a failed motor and you didn't have a spare, your own fault. But if it's coming up to the race and you need to get one of those things, and this is the only brand you can use, they better have all that shit right there.
Them. And I would imagine they will.
I'm sure they will. But they did say that while things are moving in this direction, and I guess primarily for testing purposes, they're going to make sure that, no teams stack up on stuff and stop other people from being able to buy it, which is good. But once they can check this stuff, that's when they're going to start looking at ECUs. I mean, who knows if they're going to start looking at Hall effect stuff to make sure one's more stable or not as stable. I mean, you don't know.
They might even just make a certain amount separate from regular production.
Well, these are not production stuff. This is from what I can see here. They did keep the Dominator brand name for branding purposes because their fuel injection stuff is called Dominator.
Right.
Okay.
And look, Holley Dominator, that's been around as long as they've been making big carbs.
Yep.
But I think the main thing with these is they developed kind of like NASCAR did with McLaren, and I believe it is McLaren. I'm sure I'm right about that because I remember reading it. The NASCAR box of McLaren.
McLaren, yep.
Okay. McLaren did a box just specifically for NASCAR. Now, and I wonder how the good old boys like that. You got a UK computer in your hillbilly circle track car.
Yeah, right.
But they are very high up in the ECU area. I mean, they did F1 stuff as Thaddeus is bobbing his head.
Oh, yes.
Yep. I mean, but Holley, because this is less sophisticated, you don't have car management, you don't have some of the things that probably you'd have to do in a circle track car. These things just got to go this RPM to this RPM, straight line, do a burnout, everything else. So I'm not knocking Holley stuff. I would have a hard time believing it's sophisticated as McLaren.
All right. Well, if they did stuff for 20,000 RPM, optimizing horsepower at that level, then cutting it down to 10.5, it should be easy to do.
Well, I don't know what Holley stuff is capable of, and I know that I've been told the new systems are getting better and better.
Pretty
and better.
good.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
So,
but I think the point you're trying to make is they're going to be tuning the bottom row pretty much.
Yeah.
Wide open throttle stuff is all they really got to care about.
Yeah, think about it. NASCAR guys need drivability. They need a big fuel map. There could be a lot of instances of manifold vacuum, throttle position, vehicle speed. There's a lot of things that a road race computer or circle track computer would have to do.
I was thinking, because Formula One is the ultimate blah blah blah. They're given one tank of gas to make the entire race with. So you have to do fuel management, blah, blah, blah. What if not Formula One, Pro Stock at one point says, listen, you have this many gallons of gas to make your burnout and your run. Deal with it.
Wait, you mean like put a fuel restriction on it? I don't know if you could ever do that.
Well, they do it with Formula One, though, and you're doing how many laps? You pit stop just for tires.
Yeah, we're talking about
a
6-second race here. I don't think. I mean, we're going to be measuring ounces.
They give them 4 ounces of fuel.
You never know. It's like
here's your baby bottle.
Hand them a Poland Spring bottle.
You look at the Formula One though. You put this gas in. All right, how you have to control that
they'll
fuel.
Be taking the fun out of the thing.
Going around a turn, the G forces. You have to make sure the fuel is always at the pickup.
But you see, this is what happens with all this shit. What people don't understand is that some of these rules. What is it? The road, paved with good intentions or some shit. I can't remember some adage that probably I should know. Those particular ideas, like something like this is fuel injection side, for everything that they plugged a hole over, or they thought they'd plug like the fuel pressure rule, there's probably 5 more things that maybe we haven't even thought about yet.
Yep.
And that's what happens. Rules tend to make things more expensive. It happens in everything. It always happens. The tighter you, and like Tad said, you've got fuel restrictions in F1, you can carry X amount of fuel. Well, now we have to work that much harder and spend that much more money in fuel research only to figure out how we use less fuel and still make more power.
Wow.
So and circling all the way back, these are all pieces of equipment just for NHRA Pro Stock. That's all it is.
Yep.
So it doesn't, from what I understand, it doesn't really share anything. But I think they're going to pick up in performance, but there was some discrepancy over throttle body displacement.
Yeah, I think that was just an incorrect mathematical equation in one of the magazines that I read, because they were talking about the throttle openings being and the carburetors of today being between 2.3 and 2.5 diameter per blade,
right?
Which would put the opening total at like almost 40 square inches, 39.89 or something like that. And the new throttle body is like 25 square inches. So, I mean, there's just no way to make the power. But then we looked at it, and you had found that the Venturi size is 1/950 to 2 inch.
Yeah, 1/950 to 2 inch.
So if you're saying, going back to rocker arms, you would imagine that every pro stock guy buys, center sections and looks at all of them, so they're all 2 inches or plus the,
Well, they can do
tolerance.
anything they want to them, so they probably
Make them 2 inches.
make them what they want. Yeah.
So that's 25.12 inches.
Okay. And
So that's exactly why they made that throttle body 25 inches.
all right. So they didn't lose anything in air inlet.
No.
Manifold design, if it's all going to go under the hood, forward facing or not.
It can't be as good.
Well, I mean,
Can it?
Well, look, everybody always talks about this is that, we probably should give out the phone number in case anybody wants to talk about this. I don't know. I mean, I find it interesting, but I might be a retard. 908-751-0211 and call us up if you.
Is anybody listening?
Yeah, there's people on
I'm
there.
actually baffled by a lot of it. I
Well-
want to see where this excitement is going to go.
Look, well, here, let's do this. You do know that if you had a fuel-injected car and you put nitrous and fuel nozzles in the front, like, you've got like any kind of front-mounted throttle body.
Right.
Didn't matter if it was a Ford or whatever it was. Remember the Ford 5.0 manifold? They had a spray bar that would go down the whole length of the manifold in the freeze plugs.
Right.
That's because when you put fuel in air, it gets more direction sensitive and more velocity sensitive. Like the fuel, and NHRA talks about, or the site we're looking at just talked about it, what happens with air bleeds and stuff going down the racetrack. That, the back cylinders tend to get richer because fuel has more mass than air, so it's more affected by vehicle motion.
Mm-hmm.
And just like air moving through the manifold would tend to throw fuel to the back of the manifold.
Right.
So you tend to tune your carburetor knowing the car is going to accelerate at this rate, and you get progressively leaner as you get towards the back. There's a lot to it. Well, when you get into this stuff, air on its own without fuel, you don't have to worry about fuel coming out of the air. There's a lot of things to get better.
Right.
So we're going to have fuel injector placement where it actually is. And I don't know, I believe in there somewhere it said it had to be in the manifold. It couldn't be in the head.
Yep.
So they did say that.
It did.
But I mean, why, if you knew you needed X amount of runner length, then will that still be the same? Because now you just have air, you don't have air and fuel. I wonder what that's going to do to runner length and volume.
Well, they're going to have to shorten it just to clear the hood.
Yeah.
No, we'll look at an LS1. They have a lot of runner in them. Think about how they're made.
Yeah, but think about the Pro Stock tunnel ram, how tall they are.
Yeah, but you do realize why some of that is that way, right?
No, apparently not.
Because you couldn't ever shorten up a manifold or make it crossed over or anything goofy because you're trying to get straight shot into the cylinder to carry the air to get the signal right through the carburetor nice.
Right.
That's why the runners are where they are. Now that you're carrying an air system, you might be able to just have these runners laid over amongst themselves, or who knows?
And it won't really matter.
I would say no.
Yeah, but what about plenum effect? And what about, charging opposite cylinders and all that stuff? I mean, down track with some force, it would probably make less.
Does
less.
plenum make that much of a difference with fuel injection as compared to carbureted, though, now?
Well, the plenum, as far as like plenum volume, should.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, plenum volume should, but
Okay, but shortening it up.
But, then again, I wonder how much plenum volume really comes into play when you don't have fuel.
It sounds like a lot of research and development will cure all of this.
Well,
Wait.
yeah.
It's about to get interesting.
Well,
Yeah, there's a lot here. And, go ahead, Todd.
I'm thinking we should have Alan back for fluid dynamics or something like this, shouldn't we?
Well, when you take the fuel out of the air, fluid dynamics goes away. Other than the
Was aerodynamics what?
no, it's still fluid dynamics because there's still some water in air. So
Yeah, and as it gets, Tom and I touched on that the other day, the more humid it gets, the more the air has mass and the more the air reacts.
Right.
So there is a lot to this, and there's a lot that they're going to have to figure out. I think in the end, I know the one overall thing that I don't know if it'll turn out to be the case or not. It was in an article on Bang Shift, and they do have a lot of information,
They do.
bangshift.com.
Yep.
I clipped that and I sent it to everybody on the group. What did they have? A set of Pro Stock carburetors, or their Pro Stock team had 30,000 in carburetors, or was
30,000.
that for a set of carburetors?
no budget.
A budget.
Budget for the year was $30,000.
Okay, and I think they could get 3 motors worth of fuel injection for what, 10?
$10,000. Yep.
So, I mean, if you not the $20,000 should make or break a Pro Stock team.
But it's still $20,000.
it is still 20 grand, but if you're worried about 20 grand, you shouldn't be racing pro stock.
No, that's I don't
They're
think
going to
that was
take
the
that
point.
20 grand and put it in another aspect of the racing team.
Yeah, exactly. It'll
Probably
just
research
get,
and development.
And the manifolds, but
yeah, nobody's going to step up their cookout budget at the pro stock pits because they got to save on fuel injection. It's not what it's
Unless
about.
I was on the team,
Yeah.
then I'd have to get some food. Definitely have to get some food.
You know what's going to be better? I'm sure they're going to have wide bands in every cylinder.
Yeah.
They're going to tune every cylinder.
Well,
they will make power that way.
These are the places that they can probably do some improvement. Now, I know this from the NASCAR guys that we were, because a lot of, this is going to sound bad too, but a lot of the better guys now in NASCAR came from up here.
Yep.
And they migrated down there. And I'm not saying the Southern people are stupid, so don't, because I'd much rather be down there with you guys than up here. But
That's another show.
it's another show with banjos.
Yeah.
So when you know some of these people that go down that direction, you start to hear the information and everything that filters back, and you get some things like, look, I'm not really supposed to tell you this, but here's what happens, and then little things filter out. Like MSD had a little tool to actually bend your reluctors on an MSD distributor, so you could do cylinder to cylinder timing. I mean, and you didn't really pick up on it until you started thinking about it. So the Cup guys probably had things like cylinder to cylinder, brake mean effective pressure measurement to measure what was really going on in the cylinder, when the event occurred, when detonation occurred. Is there a bad pressure wave? And they found stuff with doing cylinder to cylinder timing.
Yep.
Now, one thing you can do with a system like this is there's no more screwing around with getting your cylinder to, all right, let's take a half a degree out here, whatever we want to do.
Right. Same with fuel injector. The timing of the fuel injector pulse, the pulse width.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of
variables here to make this work.
There sure are,
per team.
and there's going to be teams that, unfortunately, because this is so involved with the things they can now measure more than anything, because of the things they can adjust. I think it's going to change their data collection methods, and it's probably going to drive up the equipment they have to do data collection. And I know that on the bang shift thing, it already said that like some of the fuel injected guys or the pro stock guys already grabbed their fuel injected guy, the guy that they knew something. They're like, you're with us because we know this is happening.
Yep.
So it's neat. It's a neat thing.
Wow.
I'm not going to say I don't like it, but boy, it probably,
I think it's going to be cool.
learning curve wise, I think it might keep some people out. Used to be able to buy a carburetor or buy a pair of carburetors and know how to tune them.
Well, you got to believe that next year, the first few races at least are going to be exciting.
oh yeah,
What I'd like to see is a big gap. Like I don't want to see a 400 or 500s pro stock field. I
No, it
want
might
to
be
see
a 210s
yeah,
or something like
210s
that.
field.
I
You'd be
know.
like, oh, he's fucked.
That would be cool.
Whoever he hired is a goofball.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That'd be fun.
Wow.
That
So
would-
the guy that's 2/10 behind is automatically
He might as well just go home.
Yeah, he
Finished.
doesn't. He's got to go home and look at his computer guy and punch him in the mouth.
Yeah.
Because that. But that's I think
pretty
it's exciting.
cutthroat.
Yep.
They'll be calling Anthony maybe.
Yeah, I mean, and guys like that, and like there was a guy that used to work with Anthony that just did tuning of this stuff.
called
And
Junior.
oh yeah,
my God.
that's another story that I'd love to get into one day or another. There's another interesting aspect to this. That what I have found with a lot of fuel injection guys that do programming, a lot of them came into this and they don't really know a lot about motors. They don't.
That's true.
And I mean, I remember having to explain to somebody, God, I can't remember who it was, somebody that should have known. And I said, dude, that simulates a power valve. What do you mean? I said, well, think about how a power valve works, and that's how you'd adjust this portion of the, I said, this is accelerator pump, this is power valve. And he's like, I don't understand. I said,
yeah, he didn't know what a power valve was.
because that guy could have never tuned a carburetor car to be as good as it needed to be.
Right.
But since it was just a number, he could kind of figure his way through it.
So he wasn't into vacuum and all that.
Hell no.
Oh, okay.
No, they didn't understand the function of a power valve. They didn't. I mean, most people know that if you took a power valve out, you go up approximately 10 numbers in jet. If you weren't going to use a power valve in the circle track stuff, we'd use the power valve and the 2-barrel motors to actually lean the motor back down as you go for peak, because you can generate manifold vacuum with a 2-barrel. There's all kinds of stuff, but these guys they don't know.
Nope.
So I mean, there is depending on the guys they got. I would think that the pro stock teams got the right guys.
Oh, I'm sure they got good guys.
Oh,
There's plenty of guys out there.
remember we had the guys that did the mechanical fuel pump You don't need an electric. My mechanical fuel pump, I got one of the big poly pumps. My car goes 11. It's like, yeah, okay.
Okay.
We almost went to crickets there for a minute.
Retard highway. But like I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna say something here, and I hope, and if this ever happens to pass his ears,
Don't offend anyone.
I'm not gonna offend anyone. I'm gonna give mad props.
Okay.
I would like to think that one of the sharpest guys at this game, even though he hasn't done well lately, is Warren Johnson. So he is my hero.
Yeah.
I am going to tell you that I think if Warren is going to make an honest effort at this, I think Warren will be back in a big way. That's my prediction.
Because
I think that he's a guy that has the most, I'll say, basic raw engine knowledge.
oh, okay.
That's going to be my thought. I don't mean to offend anybody else, but I think he's a very, very smart guy.
He is a real smart guy, but I'm gonna completely disagree with
Who do you think? We get a poll going here. I'll put a cool 20 on it.
Okay. I think it's pretty much going to stay the way it is.
Really?
Yeah. The Greg Anderson team, they have really good people. They're tight with NASCAR. Nick Ferry, he won it last year with Eric Enders, really smart cat. Roy Johnson. They have people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's no shortage of
Right.
tuners out
I would
there.
think that they didn't go all the way to the top all these years.
Yeah.
To let these rules change them.
Hey, and nobody.
You can't let me root for the old guy. Really?
Well,
Hey,
I'm saying
listen.
that he has a chance because he's the name.
I'm as
but
big a
these
Warren
guys-
fan as you are.
Right. These guys.
I love the guy.
These guys got to the top for a reason. So this is not going to stop them.
Warren
wouldn't
for
stop
me
any of us.
borders on Adam Carolla status.
Wow.
Warren is
He's your idol.
No, I know.
he's my idol.
You're just not stalking him.
I'm not stalking him.
No, I
Well,
agree with you.
He has the history and the name. So
Yep.
and the push
and
He
the
can push.
credentials. Yeah, he's won a
Right.
couple of races.
And I mean, I don't mean any disrespect to any of the pro stock guys.
No, hell no.
not by any means.
No.
We probably should give a number out again in case anybody wants to call. There's actually a fair amount of people listening. 908-751-0211.
I dare somebody to call. And like us
I
on
should-
Facebook, damn it.
Oh,
Well, Tom,
motherfucker.
Oh, it's down.
The phone is down.
I think it might be down. Hang on.
Mr.
Nope,
Technical.
it's on. It ain't me. All right, I'm safe.
Well,
I was
Tom,
just going to say Mr. Technical Difficulty.
Tom,
Yes, sir.
you did mention a car that sold for 17
Yeah.
something million dollars.
Yeah, I did. I was watching TV the other day, and it was news, during dinner or whatever, and this guy's at some kind of car show in California talking about an auction. I'm like, what the hell could that possibly happen here? Because we've talked about cars, your dad's old car at $1 million to whatever, and I've seen $1 million cars.
Mm-hmm.
This Ferrari rolls up, and the guy's talking about it, and what was it? I just put it
17 point
something million bucks. I mean, who does that? And then there was another Ferrari that didn't sell because it only went to like 13.6 or something million. We got to be doing something wrong. I know we're doing something wrong.
I'm sure the Porsche guys are feeling pretty good about themselves. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We got 1.9, I mean,
Yeah, right.
The Ferrari guys are like, fuck are you?
Yeah, exactly.
Now you're talking about the Steve McQueen Porsche?
Yeah, and
That
that's
sold for what?
$1.95 million. Yeah.
And that was like a Porsche Speedster, right? It's only a couple $100,000 car.
Yeah. It's only a couple $100,000.
If like you owned it or I owned it. Well, if
Yeah.
I owned it,
Regular guy owned it, that's what we get.
Tad owned it, it'd be worth like $87.
We actually have a caller, but I didn't have my phone system actually.
Wow.
Here.
Tad just made some kind of Satan noise to me. I hope I live through the night.
Go shift your Jericho on the way.
I did go by the dealership and I didn't test ride it. I sat in it. 4-door Porsche, the Panamera.
Yeah, I know you like them.
Yeah, so
Somebody's got money.
Never been a Porsche guy. Just never
me
have
either.
been.
I'm telling you,
missed it.
I never even looked at Porsches. I mean, I hear 911 turbo. I hear that all the time. But this 4-door, the one I sat in was only a 2011.
We had a guy from Michigan. I hope it ain't a pro stock guy who's going to hate on me.
Uh-oh.
All right, hang on. Let's grab this guy.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy, you're on the air. Are you mad at me?
No, man, you're good.
All right, good.
Tom dared me to call in, so I figured.
All right. I like that.
I did like you on Facebook, so I'm safe.
All right. What's up?
These guys kissing your
How
ass.
you guys doing?
We're doing good. We got a caller. So what do you got for us?
One thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about is what doing wise. I heard a rumor that they were going to coil on plug setup, but I don't know if there's any truth to that or not.
Yeah,
I think I saw that. Yeah.
there is. And let me open it back up because I closed it because I didn't have the phone system window open. Because see, there's buttons on the phone. I can answer the phone with the buttons, but I can't ever figure it out. I pushed the wrong ones. I can't. But hang on, there is an instance here of coil on plug mentioned.
Yeah, I saw that. And there was a distance. They called out how far away it could be or something like that, or something about distance.
Let's see, fuel injector, throttle body. For additional information.
Well, caller,
parts list.
are you excited about the changes?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Are you excited about the changes? Do you think it's gonna make it more interesting?
I think, honestly, the thing that kind of gets me excited a little bit is the fact that they're going to like a flat hood, because I think what it's going to do is make the cars look, more like a production car. And I love Pro Stock and I love the big scoops, but I'd like to see the cars be more representative of what you get off the showroom floor. So I think it's kind of exciting.
I agree with that too.
Yeah, amen. Because
I've said that.
if you look at like half the time you look at a Pro Stock car and you're like, what the hell is it?
Yeah.
You
For
know?
years, you didn't know.
And it's like you look at the Cup cars now that are car of tomorrows, by their headlight decals and what the badges are. I mean, it's stupid.
Well, the Cup guys are better now. The car tomorrow thing's been dead for a while.
Mo, because
I know you don't watch it.
I don't
Too busy
watch it.
watching Grey's Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy rocks.
Crickets.
Don't pick on Lexi. All right, hang on a minute.
McDreamy.
Yes, main harness. Here we go. Main ECU, required tools,
Loose wires.
coil wiring. Yep. Cylinder head grounds use no smaller. You talk about wire sizes, power E, and 556-112 coils. That's what you have to use. Now, why would you give me crickets for coils when it's what the guy was asking about, you dick?
I don't know. I just felt like doing it.
Douchebag. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It is coil on plug, and
Cool.
I don't. I mean, it's kind of funny that they really. I mean, they really did think some stuff out here, unless they're doing this to make sure that people just aren't stupid, because they say here uses no smaller than 18 gauge wire. Should be connected. So I wonder if they're doing this to educate you, so that do they think these guys are that dumb? Do not tie.
I think they're just going to try to write every rule they can, to try to cover their ass for the first season, because people are going to try to work around everything they can. So
Exactly.
it was just somebody sat down and said, hey, we need to write as many stipulations as we physically can think of right now to try to keep a even playing field.
Try to plug all the holes. Well, this is a little nugget that I just picked up on, which must tell you how serious these coils are. See what it says there for a fuse?
No.
A single 70 amp or dual 40 amp relays.
Wow.
Ready for this? To feed ignition coils. So that's a hell of a fucking number of current.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, wow.
Does it specify who what brand the coils are?
Yeah, it's Holly.
Yeah, it's all Holly.
Is it Holly? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, the whole deal is maybe if you didn't hear that, the whole deal is Holly. I'm sure they paid a pretty penny to get their deal in there, but it's a good system. We've been talking about it for a little while.
I'm looking here at all the other parts and stuff. Oh, are you really? The do's and don'ts?
He's looking for another nugget.
They've got do's and don'ts on wiring, but I mean the details, at least what they released to the teams, and what we can see here is actually pretty good. It has everything, that you could ever ask for as far as pinouts and places to monitor data. I mean, it's a pretty good spec. I'm sure what they did is exactly what you said. They're trying to plug as many holes as they can to stop people from getting out of control.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Caller, where are you from? What's your name?
I'm from Michigan. Actually, I talked to you guys probably about 2 months ago. I'm from Casco, Michigan, the east side of Michigan.
Oh, okay, I remember that.
Yeah, my name's Scott.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So
How's the show been? I wasn't here last week, so I know that one sucked. But how about the rest of them?
they've been good. I like them, honestly. I usually listen to you guys. I'm out working on my car right now, actually, and usually when I'm out doing that, I got you guys. If I don't miss or if I miss the live show, I got all the recordings, so I usually listen to you guys out in the pole barn.
Well, we appreciate that.
Yeah, we do.
They all can't be winners, but we're trying. We're trying to get better and better.
Good so far.
We got to get a logo and some stickers and some shirts.
We do have a guy that's talented enough to draw, and he has just completely failed. No, you, Tad, you retard, pointing at Crunch. Tad actually is a very, very good artist, and we do need something. I'm just say here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to keep muting your microphone every time I see you pick up your phone. And what the hell are you laughing at?
I've been on you for 2 months with these. I want to walk around with my power and speed uniform.
I've been trying to figure out something out for it, but I'm like, just
that face.
We gave him the idea last week.
We gave him some stuff.
Okay.
Well, you got the microphone with the tires, blah, blah.
Am I muted?
No, you're not muted. You should
I can hear you.
All right, man. Well, look, thanks for calling in, and we're going to talk about it further. You got anything else? You got any events or anything out there you want to plug or things happening or anything?
No, but I do want to say one thing. You
Sure.
are talking to an engineer
Mm-hmm.
does not cook fucking dinner at 7 o'clock.
I love this guy.
How far is Michigan from New Jersey?
I don't know. We should go do a show at his house.
It's got to be about what, like 900 miles, maybe?
Yeah.
Day trip,
All right, Alan, you just got 900 mile an hour or 900 mile away hatred.
Yes, he did.
That's awesome.
That was awesome.
All right, dude. I'll see you. Thanks for calling.
Thanks, man.
See ya.
Yep, take care, guys.
So you got any hate text yet?
Could that have been any better?
Oh, no, it could. And he's going to think we planned that. He's really going to think we
did
planned
not.
that.
No, we legit did not.
He didn't say anything about the swing set though. He could have really announced.
He was saving that maybe.
And I thought he was your friend. Now you're tooling on him a little bit.
Oh,
That's my boy. That's my man.
So that's what we know about NHRA Pro stock at this point.
I can't say one thing. I got to add.
Did you just say ooh?
I got to see the actual L cam. And it was a nice car.
Oh, the L cam that Fudd talked about.
Yeah, it was pretty
Camino?
nice. Air conditioning and everything. And a pretty nice car.
Now, where
Where?
the fuck are you at with the crickets now, dickhead?
Yeah, I know. And well, you just threatened to mute me. I can't even touch my phone now. What L-cam? The one that motor's going in?
No. The L cam. His L cam.
He bought one.
No, he wants to buy one. He showed me the car that he wants to buy. It's sitting next to a 64 Nova. That was real nice. And then next to a Mustang, blah, blah, blah.
Whatever happened to that motor he was building?
It's in the car. It's actually in the car. I don't know if
Where's the car?
the kid put it in. It's as far as it got with that.
I just texted Alan that he got hatred from Michigan. I don't know if he's done with his quiche yet. He might not be able to.
Oh,
I do want to be there for
It's
the car's
still
initial
beef.
fire up, though.
With many GoPros.
Oh, yeah.
I'd put one under the car, over the car.
But
Well,
the kid.
Well, could you want to say
Because that's bad karma. I'm not even saying it.
Can't answer it.
All right, let's go back to the car auction stuff. So 1.95 for a Porsche that was worth 200.
Yep.
But the Ferraris, dude, they're
They're just off the chart.
yeah. I mean, when people talk about exotic cars, the first thing that comes to mind is two names, Lamborghini and Ferrari.
Right.
I mean, they're
but $17 million, bro.
here's what always
That is
amazes
amazing.
me. That you just got to realize that if a guy's got $17 million to buy a car that he's not driving, how much money this cat really has.
He's got rooms. He's printing it.
Think
yeah.
about that, dude. That's
That's amazing.
Well, the real car, the Ferrari, Bugattis. That's where the money is.
Oh, my God.
yeah,
It is.
yeah.
But
Todd,
only-
when was the last time a Veyron sold for $17 million?
But they're only $2
Oh, they
or $3
will.
million, right?
Never. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a brand new car, not a car of some stature,
Actually, there was a same auction. There was a McLaren V1, P1. What's the
F1.
F1.
F1?
Yeah.
Sold for $13,675.
And that's more than
million.
Mr. Bean's car because his sold for 12.5 or 12.2.
Didn't he wreck that car?
And it was wrecked twice.
$1 million. This is ridiculous.
So that's
We're
a car.
definitely in the wrong business.
No, we gotta. We need way more callers so we could make money enough to
Hey,
buy
think
one
about
of
it.
those.
Some-
I don't think if we had the money like that, we would spend it on cars. And we're car
I would.
guys.
If
We're
we
car-
if we had
you
that kind of
100
money,
million, you wouldn't spend 17 on the car.
Yeah, but he bought the car for $750,000.
I
Sold
would.
it
Mike
for that
is-
much.
is-
I would too.
I would. No, you
17
wouldn't because
million on a
you've
car?
got kids. Crunch has some
Yeah,
responsibilities.
but if you got 100 million,
Tad would be at
Oh,
a go-go
yeah.
bar. It's, I mean, I
No, I'd own one. Get it
go-go
right.
bar, Yeah.
Jesus, Todd.
You're right. I might not. Actually,
I would be bad. It would be like if I got 100, I'd probably spend 99 of it on a car. On not on the car, but 8 cars.
on cars, yeah.
Between the garage to put the cars in and then the cars. And then maybe
Oh.
maybe a mill on somebody to clean the cars.
And then
You know,
when-
you
when-
could. Yeah, you'd have to have that.
Then a girlfriend comes in and says, "You need to sell all this stuff."
You can go. You're dismissed.
Goodbye.
Yeah, I guess if Mike had that kind of money, there would be no steady girlfriend.
This is true. This is very true.
A lot of rentals.
All right, so
Not in the biblical sense. Just you know what I mean.
All right.
Mike doesn't need to rant them.
no, I've got the other thing that we talked about briefly, which was the Street Outlaws Armageddon thing.
Oh yeah, their Outlaw Armageddon race. I have no real details on it. I know the Chuck Mustang almost crashed. Apparently, there's video of him doing some crazy good driving, saving a wreck. And apparently, Big Chief won the whole thing.
Really?
So he
Now, this wasn't like the thing you went to. It can be talked about. It's okay. And
yeah, I think
everything
so.
else.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. This is, but the results aren't out and anywhere. I couldn't find them today. I was looking, but
Big Chief won the 20.
yeah.
The race was tight. I saw the.
Who did he beat in the final? Do you know?
I don't remember who it was.
But apparently it was a no prep deal,
Mhm.
flashlight start, and he won it all. So he's not that we haven't hated on them in a long time because we kind of
I've never really hated on Chief.
no, we haven't actually. True.
I'm finding it amazing that a Pontiac motor could win.
And he heard
outright.
it too. Funny thing.
Yeah, he was smoking oil, leaking oil. and
Yeah,
everything.
he heard it in one of the test hits when he ran the Murder Nova.
Right. He said he just held it together for the final.
Yep.
And he said he was going through the quarter hoping
Well,
they stayed together.
I got to tell you, I was amazed when it was told to me, and I probably should have known it, that, from looking at the show website, that it is in fact a Pontiac.
Yeah.
It's really
Real
a Pontiac.
Yeah.
That's
A Butler built
Yeah, it's a
aluminum V8.
Butler built with
Well, that's an
Edelbrock heads.
Indian Adventures block Pontiac. So that's
Yes.
yeah,
a
but I mean, look,
bullet. That's a bullet.
I hear you, but coming from the street race side, if you had it, you were setting up a race and you said, "Look, I'm bringing a real Pontiac." You're like, "Oh, what
Laugh.
Pontiac headed?" Like, no.
A
I'm
Pontiac
bringing
block.
I'm bringing a Pontiac
Yeah, but
block.
Indian Adventures block is a block.
Yeah,
a
but the
little
architecture of it, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but still you
it's
got-
still
you
a
have-
Pontiac head. It's
Yeah.
still a Pontiac block.
You have three
It-
exhaust ports. It's like, yeah, that ain't going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be thinking back to the old dumb shit. I'd be all right. This guy,
He's probably in the 600 cubic inch range.
I'd want a 500-inch small block candid valve deal and, hammer him.
Jericho?
Well, congratulations to him.
Yeah. Do you hear that, by the way?
Hear what?
That fucking bag of Snickers is still calling me that you put right behind me, you bastard.
Tom,
It's yelling my name.
Tad is a foodie, so Tad was going to bring.
I'm just
food today.
I'm just a fat guy.
And I had made mention that there were some Snickers and some peanut M&Ms, and Tom's like, "Oh my God, you can't eat one Snickers." So I walked in and I dropped them right in front of him, and he turned around, he put them behind. I said, "Doesn't matter, you know they're still sitting there. You just know they're there."
That's true. That is true.
We hear anything on Daddy Dave? Is he out of the hospital? Is he doing okay? or-
He's doing okay. I think he's been out. I have not heard anything else.
All right. Well, that's good because the bottom line is all that stuff sucks. You don't ever want to see anybody get hurt. And you said they took up a collection, like a GoFundMe or something. To try
Yeah,
to-
somebody did. I forget who did it, but they got him some money. I guess maybe to pay for his bills or the new car or something. But it was nice.
Yeah.
A lot of people came to his aid.
We don't know where it is, but if you want to help Daddy Dave out, if you feel so inclined, I would imagine go look at a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter or whatever
or
he
just
did. One of them
just
things.
Google it.
Yeah,
Just-
Google Daddy Dave. I'm sure
As
you
long
can
as
figure
you
out.
all use the Google with 2 O's.
Yeah.
I'm like Alan.
That's
I
a
might
lot to
start a
put money in.
GoFundMe for my enclose.
For your enclosed?
Yeah.
Cool.
There you go.
I need an
I mean, you can try.
I want Tad to. You're gonna put this graffiti on it,
Huh?
the graphics and graffiti, and no.
On what?
He could,
Aren't you an artist?
he could put horseshoes on it.
Oh,
No.
You're the one he was talking about being an artist?
Yeah, hey,
Tad.
Tad.
He says he's the artist. That's why.
All right. Well, can we give him an assignment for next week to have do the logo?
He really, over the years, I remember seeing some of the stuff he
I'll bring in my
drew,
stuff next time.
And
No, don't bring in your stuff. Do a logo.
No, I'm not a logo person.
it's
Well, I
like,
can try, but
you understand too, because neither we've talked about it. We don't have a creative bone in our bodies.
None.
I mean, to be able to draw anything,
Nope.
forget it. Musician, drawing, anything like that, I couldn't fucking do any of
I
it.
can't even draw stick people.
For
Yeah.
2016, I want to have power and speed.
I'm
Clothes.
well, not that.
I'm gonna be a
We should-
walking
we
I'm
already
trying,
do.
to find, I'm trying to figure out power and speed logo. It's like one power, one speed. I got to think of something that
I thought we were doing something
embraces
with a
them.
turbo and the words going in, coming out.
I don't know. We'll figure something out.
why,
Maybe
why don't we have fans do it? We don't have any fans.
I got the snail with the
We
turbo
have
shell,
fans.
but
we have plenty of.
we have plenty of
I
fans.
know we do.
Yeah.
So I'm, if anybody's got any ideas for any kind of logo or something, because apparently a bunch of you guys are actually asking for T-shirts and all kinds of stuff. And I mean, we really didn't think that far ahead. At least I didn't. So
I did. I said we were making T-shirts like 3 months ago to put you on the spot because you had a guy that owed you something. That South Jersey guy.
Listen to me. I have said this a million times
punch
before.
Him right in the Adam's apple.
Anybody that has
one.
Listen, anybody that has artistic ability, like Tad, they're unreliable.
I
as
know.
hell.
I know.
I got it. I just thought of it. For the power part,
Look, we don't need to talk about it.
Just surprise us.
Just sit there like you normally do without saying nothing.
For the power part, we're gonna have an extension cord.
Yeah, just
there you go. No, monster truck. Mike likes monster trucks.
Oh my god!
All right. So what else? Anybody have?
NASCAR for the
Anything else
speed.
interesting? Tad, did you get anything for the show over this whole week of?
A person flopping around on the ground, dying. Jeez.
But I mean, seriously,
that was good material.
Yeah, it's good.
well,
car, good car stuff. Good solid car.
I did find that I didn't get enough information on the Supra, 6-speed Supra in the low 8s. And I don't care what you say. Oh, shifting's easy. Trying to keep something on boost, shifting at that kind of speed, without losing boost.
factory trans.
Yeah,
dude, relax.
6-speed.
Man.
Yeah, he was looking a little bit like Alan.
I know,
wasn't he?
For a second there,
with the holding the hands.
that
stuff.
DSM that went to Street Outlaws.
Yeah.
I don't know how fast it went there because we couldn't talk about it anyway, but that car's gone 8.0.
Guy on chat said he'd buy a shirt, so we got one sale.
Nice. If he comes up with a logo, we'll give him a shirt.
Yep, there you go. Free shirt if you come
An
with a
8.0
logo.
stick or automatic?
Stick.
Really?
Yeah.
Rolling through gears or?
Yep, Rowan.
Because I know one of the guys at Turbo Tricks, he rebuilds those trans axles.
Who, Keith?
Yeah. And he said, for the longest time, he used to pop them left and right until he figured out a clutch that would ease into the next gear, and not shock it.
Yep.
Well, you do know that's a lot of why, like, Lenkos started to be used, right? All that stuff. It's so they could dial in clutch slip between the packs. And, I mean, a lot of people don't understand, Well,
the packs would actually slip and the clutch would be locked up.
Yeah, the clutch would lock.
Oh, yeah, it's
and-
just the launch. That's the only time you touch the clutch, and that's it.
Yeah, you get the clutches for launch, and then on every gear change, you could dial in the amount of hit in each pack to try to not have, tire shake. And yeah, it was and I guess now what they do, the clutch it handles everything.
All clutch.
Well, they got Bruno's now with the torque converter and the
Nobody's using that in pro
Not-
stock.
Yeah, not in pro stock.
not in pro stock. No, I'm talking in the
But Outlaw 10.5, they used to have
the retarded
Uno
horsepower
and
boost
everything.
stuff.
Some of them do.
Yeah, what was that thing you had?
Donovan, yeah.
Is that what it was?
Same thing.
Same
Same
thing.
principle, yeah.
It was a clutch, but an automatic.
No, it was a converter with a Jericho.
A converter with a
Yeah.
Jericho.
Yep.
Yeah, that was strange.
It was strange.
Wow.
All right. Anything else from the collective peoples?
Yeah, I want to say one thing. I seriously want somebody to get us on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, and let's talk about doing a logo. We'll get some decals, we'll get some shirts, and maybe we'll do something for the 5 best renditions of what people think our logo should be.
All right. Sounds
You
good.
never know.
You know what I kind of wanted to do? I mean, we really do have an awful lot of listeners. What I'd like to do is like to maybe give something away.
How about we can
Some
give Tad away.
t-shirts. Some
Let's
t-shirts.
give away Tad for a weekend.
No, I wasn't thinking like T-shirts, like maybe a
They're gonna
gift
mail 'em
certificate
back.
to somewhere, or like some I don't know.
Tickets to the Super Bowl.
Easy killer, easy killer.
No, that'd be cool. Gift certificate to I don't know.
Manly?
I don't know.
Maybe it's like Summit or something. I don't know where people would buy
How
shit
about a
now.
trip to the Bahamas?
Yeah.
Well, you're the guy looking at
Crunch-
Crunch
Mike,
is going to be our biggest fan now.
Look at Mike. He's over there like steaming, like, don't do that.
How many times do I have to
No, that's
call
a
it
good
away?
idea. Summit, Jegs,
Yeah.
one of them.
something like that. We'll get something together, and we'll figure out something stupid that they could do to win it or something.
Yeah.
But it would actually be good because we really would like to have more live listeners. Like today was actually a pretty good live listener day.
Yeah.
What we'd like to have is, see, and we said it a million times before, podcasting is tough because people listen when they can listen.
Right.
But if you want fan interaction, yeah, you get Facebook and social media and everything else, but it's actually pretty damn good to have callers. Like that caller, he's called a couple times now, and I remember him from calling the first time.
Yeah, me too.
He's good.
And he was great.
And he told on Alan.
Exactly. That's why he was great.
So,
He's getting a shirt, period.
yeah, he'll get one. When if we can get people to understand that they could, if they were listening and there was an opportunity to win something, I hate to pay for listeners, but I'd like to have more live
But
people.
isn't that what people do?
I guess in the end,
What Facebook's all about.
I'd like to have more live callers. And again, we understood no other podcasts that I know of really do this. They record their show. They'll put something up on social media. If you want to talk to us at this time. Call here, and you call in. You really don't know what they're talking about. You just jump in. So, all right. Well, I guess that's it. I don't know.
I think it was pretty good.
I had fun.
That was different.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Man, the crickets were. I should have been ready.
Well, we'll be back next week.
Yeah, we will.
I guess imagine 7 o'clock, 7:15. It's tough to get here at times, with Crunch and everybody else. But, we'll see you next time. Anybody got anything to say?
Say goodnight, Ted.
Sure.